Massive NBA news just dropped. De'Aaron Fox is potentially going to be traded, and the leader on his short list is the San Antonio Spurs. Oh my goodness, this would create a dynasty. De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama, do you know how electric that would be? And this is not some hypothetical like your typical SEC fan makes up. This is probably gonna happen. The Kings need to get value out of one of the best players in the history of their franchise while he's still there and while they still can before he walks for nothing next year, and the Spurs have more than enough draft capital to make it happen. Adding on to this, to make this a little bit juicier, Jalen Johnson just went out for the year, and guess who has control of the Atlanta Hawks first round pick this year? Bingo, the San Antonio Spurs. So I think the Spurs are not only in the best position to make a move, but they need to make a move the most. This is a guy in De'Aaron Fox that all-NBA caliber player, averages 25.2 points a game, 5 boards, 6.2 assists, and 1.5 steals. He plays with elite pace, and he's one of the better slashers in the league. He shoots 47% from the field, 32% from 3 on 6.3 attempts is a bit concerning if I'm the Spurs looking to invest in my long-term point guard. His three-point percentage is down, but last year he did shoot 37% from 3 on 7.3 attempts per game in 37 minutes a night. So he has proven that he can shoot the 3 ball, just this year has been a little bit of a down year. Like I said, he's a premier slasher, gets into the paint at will, and he can drive and kick to shooters that San Antonio will continue to develop down the line. Maybe they don't have him yet. You know, they have Julian Champagnie right now, and then a bunch of guys that are working on it. He's 27 years old, and he is a pick and roll specialist, especially with Sabonis. And then when you get him into the pick and roll with Wembanyama, he's going to look ridiculous. Look at him attack Rudy Gobert right here. Actually, this is more of a play, a little Spanish pick and roll action where Keegan Murray is going to set a back screen for Sabonis, but watch the move that De'Aaron Fox puts on Dante DiVincenzo right here in space. That's really nice. Now he's going to get at Rudy Gobert once again, like we talked about in this pick and roll. He comes off the screen and he sees Rudy Gobert sitting there in drop coverage. He's licking his chops. Floater game is elite. He's going to get the and one from Jaden McDaniels, and that's just a really special play right there to be able to get that and one off of the pick and roll. Same thing here, little Spanish pick and roll action. This time it gets blown up though, but this is where he thrives, just blowing by guys, and that's no average defender. That's Jaden McDaniels, one of the best defenders in the league. Now teams like to just switch this pick and roll, or as the Knicks do here, just nobody guard Victor Wembanyama. So I'm really excited to see what De'Aaron Fox and Wemby could do in a pick and roll setting. Now he will be a free agent in 2 summers, which is why, you know, his agent Rich Paul's basically told the Kings, go ahead and move him while you can still get some value out of him. So what is a trade going to consist of? Obviously the Kings are going to want a ransom for De'Aaron Fox, one of the premier point guards in the league and one of the more underrated point guards in the league. He's worthy of a max contract, so the team he is going to be traded to is going to have to be able to give him a max contract and be able to match the contract that he's on right now. The Spurs have 3 potential matches for his salary there with Harrison Barnes, Keldon Johnson, and Zach Collins, and the Kings will probably want Stephon Castle thrown in. I don't think the Spurs do it though. They have enough first round picks in the future to stay away from throwing in their prized number 4 overall pick from a year ago in Stephon Castle. But like I said, if you're the Spurs and you're in this position to go out and get an all-NBA type point guard, you have to go get that to pair up with Wemby long term. Just imagine these two for the next 5 to 10 years running the show in San Antonio. Wemby this year, 24.5 points a game, 10.8 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 3.9 blocks. And did I mention that the kid is 21 years old? He's hitting threes from the C in the Chase Center at Madison Square Garden. Ridiculous. And then he's just gonna, that's ridiculous. OBJ it over Karl Towns' head and then go dunk it. Now he's gonna get into the lane, hit a little fall away over Josh Hart if you try to put a guard on him. The kid is special. 48% shooting from the field, 35% from 3 on 9.1 attempts. That 3-point percentage continues to rise as the year goes on, and there's no doubting what Chris Paul has done to lift this Spurs team up. But Chris Paul's 40. You need to start looking for a long-term option. I don't think Trey Jones is anything more than a backup. A really good backup, but nothing more than a backup. And then don't even get me started on Jeremy Sohan at point guard, whatever blasphemy they tried to do last year. But look at this year compared to last. That is the Chris Paul effect on this young roster, setting up Wemby and Sohan rolling downhill. Both the young bigs that they have, making their lives so much easier, playing with a true point guard instead of, like I said, trying to put Jeremy Sohan at point guard. On the year, he averages 9.5 points, 8.2 6.2 assists and 4.3 rebounds while shooting 42% from the field and 36% from three. But I think he'd be a great backup. Like, he was a backup last year, so there should not be an issue there. Now we come to the Stephon Castle situation, right? The rookie is averaging 11.7 points a game, 3.8 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and 0.8 steals in 25 minutes per game this year while being just 20 years old. However, it's looking like he's going to be more of a secondary playmaker down the line. With Chris Paul and Stephon Castle in the lineup, they are positive per 100 possessions in 550 minutes. However, when Chris Paul is not in the lineup with Stephon Castle, it looks rough. Really, really rough. Now, they average 119 points per 100 possessions when they're both out there, and when it's just Stephon Castle out there, they average 106.7 points. Now, I know he's a rookie, but still, he's looking like a secondary playmaker alongside of a point guard at this point in his career, and he can do that alongside of De'Aaron Fox. That'd be the perfect fit for him because he's an elite defender, and then he can just be the connector off of Fox and everybody else in that lineup. The issue with that would be Vassell or whoever you have alongside those three down the line would have to be elite shooters because Castle right now cannot shoot. He needs to work on that a lot, but at 6'6" with 215 and a 6'9" wingspan, he's looking like a phenomenal point of attack defender down the line. Now, what the mock trade would look like, this is my favorite, where the Spurs get Fox and Simeon Fontecchio from the Pistons. The Pistons get Harrison Barnes and a couple of picks, and then the Kings get a few players back and a lot of picks, but I don't think they're going to be happy with Trey Jones, right? I think they're going to want more of like a Keldon Johnson, just somebody that can help them. They've said they wanted win-now players. Keldon Johnson is still young, but he's also a win-now type guy. You see the stats he's got this year, and he's doing that on 46% shooting from the field. He can be a bench player for you. Don't look at that three-point percentage, though. That is atrocious. So I think instead of Trey Jones, they'd like a Keldon Johnson, but we'll see what happens. Keldon Johnson's not exactly great. As for the Pistons, the reason they're in this trade, Fontecchio has been a little bit of a disappointment this year, and they get Harrison Barnes going forward to help kind of with the playoff push. Fontecchio is 6'8" with a 6'9" wingspan, so I think he fits in perfectly alongside Wemby, Castle, and De'Aaron Fox, but he's only averaging 6.4 points per game this year, 3 rebounds, 1 assist in 17 minutes in 41 games played, and that's on 40% shooting from the field, 34% from 3-on-3 attempts. Not good whatsoever compared to last year in Detroit, where in 16 games he averaged 14.4 points, 4.8 rebounds, played 30 minutes a night, and shot the cover off the ball. He shot 48% from the field and 43% from 3. He has not done that this year, so maybe a fresh start is needed. As for Harrison Barnes, he's a vet going to Detroit that could really boost their playoff hopes. 12 points a game, 4 rebounds on 50% shooting from the field, 41% from 3. You add that guy in to try and get you into the playoffs. Maybe the Pistons don't want to make that win now move, but I think that's, a move that you make as a young core at a deadline, a little rental, right? Because Harrison Barnes will probably be gone after this year from Detroit. As for the Spurs, like I said, if you're in a situation where you can go out and get an all-pro point guard in De'Aaron Fox, you have to make that move, right? You have plenty of picks. Those Hawks picks are becoming more and more valuable. You have picks on down the line on top of picks, and then you have the best young player in any sport right now. So I think you got to make the trade. But that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like button. Leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button. We're looking for about 300 likes on today's video. And with that being said, thanks so much for watching.